Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Insulated Greenhouse.
Yeah, what we're going to do today is we're going to work on some bonsai plants. A bonsai plant, and this is, by the way, before I forget, is an awesome book. No, I didn't write it, but it just shows the essentials on how to do a bonsai. These are really, really fun to grow. It's just a nice little hobby, something to do that's very interesting, I think. Now, this is a bonsai that I just worked on the other day, and it's not completely finished, but you can see how it's forming into a nice bonsai. I'm still going to do a little bit of wiring up in here to make these branches grow the way that I want them to. But this is basically this is a different style of plant, but this is kind of what this one looked like before I started on it, so you can really tell the difference.
Now, how big does that plant grow? You said it's an outside plant?
Yeah, this one is, for example, is a juniper. So if we were to plant this outside, it would just grow into a huge juniper bush.
So would it be like that except bigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it would look just like...
Does it stay pretty close to the ground? I don't know. I don't know what a juniper plant is.
They get, I don't know, maybe, well, they can get pretty high, a couple feet maybe.
Oh, is that all?
Wide.
Okay.
Oh, after years they can get pretty big.
Uh-huh.
But what we do to make a bonsai, we want to basically stunt their growth. We don't want them to get any bigger than this. So I was really amazed at how you make these. And
oh, is that what you're talking about, that picture right there?
uh-huh.
So that's a bonsai. Like bonsai!
Bonsai!
So it has the, what do you call that, the stem, and then it,
Yeah,
you're going to train it or something, right?
Yeah, we train it to look like an interesting tree, an interesting miniature tree. And there's some, they show different plants in here that you can use, different types of plants that you can make into a bonsai. And but that's basically what it is. It's taking a shrub or a tree and forcing it to stay small. And we'll show you how to do that here, kind of step by step. And the first step, and you would, first time I did this, I thought, no, this is going to kill the plant. But you take they actually sell a bonsai hook that you can use, but this works just as good, a piece of wire, coat hanger. And what we want to do is we want to get all of the, I need to be left-handed for this.
Yeah.
We want to get all of the dirt out of the roots as much as possible. And you can use your hands, you can use the hook when you need to.
Yeah, you're right. You'd think that would possibly kill it.
You would think so. You want to be as careful as you can. You don't want to do the least amount of damage to the roots as possible. So usually starting at the bottom and working your way up is the best way to do it.
Is that wire stiff enough?
No, you know, the hook that they sell would probably work a lot better, but yeah, this works fine for being free.
Yeah, I guess I don't get what you're doing there, but find out here in a minute.
I know it's pretty wild. Yeah, so see how they're keeping the roots intact, but just crumbling out the dirt. Because what we're going to do is we're going to give those roots a haircut, and we're going to cut off the entire bottom of the roots.
Yeah.
Because if we stunt the growth of the roots, then it'll force this plant to stay real small. And that's how they keep them little like that. And then, like every year, like next year, I'll have to take this plant out, for example, and I'll have to do the same thing. I'll have to strip the roots, cut off the excess roots, and put more dirt in, because otherwise it'll get root bound, and it'll start dying because the roots will start wrapping around themselves in that small pot. So that's why the roots have to be trimmed.
Has this one had any work done to it yet?
Well, oh yeah, I've done, well, that one looked almost as bad as this one.
So you've already worked on this. This is a different kind of plant than that one, right?
Yeah, I think that's some kind of a spruce, and this is juniper. And when you buy a plant, and they didn't have a lot of options this time of year, but when you buy your plant, you want to look for what you can see. Like, we're going to cut all of this out, and we're going to make it look like a cool small tree. So you want to look at the plant and see where you can see how which way the branches are going, and what's going to be interesting about the plant. Like, for example, this one here. This is a tree that, I mean, if we were to plant this outside, again, it would turn into a great big tree. And they sell these at places during Christmas for little Christmas trees. But if you keep doing the same thing as we're doing here, you can keep it small all the time, or you can let it grow big. But the thing is that to keep its shape all the time, when you start getting the branches that are coming out of the form, then you want to cut them off right away, trim them up, and keep it looking like a Christmas tree. So this plant, before it was trimmed, looked like one of these, except it's one that kind of grows up and bushy. Mm-hmm. And it's just trimmed back to look like this. I'm going to go ahead and trim him off on the top too. So this guy needs a little bit more of a trimming, but that's just an example of a finished product.
How often do you have to do this?
Just whenever.
I mean, not just the trimming, but with the roots. That seems like it's a lot of work.
I think once a year.
Oh, that's all. Just once a year.
It's not very often, really, because these are kind of a slow growing. See, we have a great big root there, so I don't want to disturb that.
How old do you think that plant is, if it's that slow of a growing plant? Don't I give it a guess?
I'm clueless. This could be a year of growth.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, maybe a year.
Okay, so I've got those roots exposed. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take our shears, and so the pot we're going to put it in is going to be this deep. So we want to cut off the roots to where they just fit nicely into the pot, where the roots will just like hit right towards the bottom of the pot. So we're just going to cut all these guys off. So we just end up with a real tight, small root ball that's going to fit into our small pot. So that's our first step. Now to get the pot ready, because we're going to be wiring this thing into place, we're going to want to wire where we want to train the branches to go a particular way or do it whatever we want them to do. See, we leave them wired up until they just get used to growing that way. So to keep this wire in place, we put these little things on the bottom. And it's basically...
Okay, so that wire is actually tied to the pot somehow.
Yeah, that wire is actually weaved through this that I'm working on right now, and that's going to go on the bottom of the pot here. So I'm going to put that in here.
Otherwise it would not stand up.
Right.
Right. And you won't have to mess with this for another year, except for trimming or moving it around. Right.
Well, I might change it a little bit as it's growing, see how it's doing. I might use take this heavier wire off and put a lighter wire on. But you could just leave it like that, just let it grow for a while.
Okay, and we did buy some wire the other day. I got two different sizes here. It's probably and it's aluminum wire, by the way. Steel wire, it'd be too hard to work with, right?
Feel how soft this wire is. It's a little bit softer than...
That's definitely aluminum. It's easy to bend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real easy to work with.
Right. What's that? And then this little mesh square, what is that?
Okay, what the mesh square is for...
Where'd you get that?
Okay.
I'm asking all these questions.
Well, that's good because I tend to skip things. When I bought the pots, the mesh came with it along with the wire. I bought these pots on Amazon.
Oh, those pots are made just for this purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are called bonsai pots. And bonsai pots can get really expensive. There's some beautiful ones, but they're ceramic and they're very pricey. And these are a plastic.
So they're just like, right?
So what we're going to do is we're going to take this wire now, and not knowing how we're going to wire this up, we don't know that yet until we start chopping on it. So I'm just going to make the wire really long. And put one wire in through each hole here. So we got one there, and so that's what's going to hold that wire in place then, to hold our tree up.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to bend these out of the way for now. And this is a long project. I mean, it's a hobby. It's not something that you want to just, it's just fun.
Takes time.
It takes time, but it's fun time if you get into it. Okay, so we're going to start doing a little trimming on this before um, before we plant it, because it's just easier. And like I did this one here, the bottom of the tree, we want that to look like a cool trunk going up. And right now, see, I don't have anything that resembles a trunk going up. So I'm going to clip off my other clippers go. Oh, here they are. I'm going to clip these off that I don't think are going to be attractive on the tree. And I'm going to cut them as close as I can down to the trunk.
Boy, we got some wind out there today.
Yeah, it is really windy today. Had quite a bit of that. At least we're not in Tennessee or, oh my gosh.
The tornadoes out there. I feel sorry for those people.
Oh, it's awful. Now all of these that I'm cutting off, I'm going to put those in another pot, and that's going to start all new bonsai plants. So we're going to save all of those, because there's a lot when you get done trimming these poor things.
I call it cloning, but it's actually what is it?
Propagating.
Propagating.
But cloning works. It's easier to remember. Now see, that's kind of cool because there's a big knot down here on this branch. So that's going to make a cool trunk right there. So I definitely want to leave that.
So you've got to kind of think in your mind what you're going to do with it after you get to this point.
Yeah, it's just a creative process of, okay, how does it look and what do I want it to look like? And this one I'm thinking leave a few trunks coming up, where this one I only left one trunk. And this one's kind of cool because they're separated, and we can make it almost look like a mini forest. So I'm going to go with that plan and see how I like it. Yeah, you really have to get a creative mind to try and see what the plant can do when it's all trimmed up. And I know I'm not going to want all of this up here.
Haircut.
Major haircut for this poor little guy.
Some of our tools are rusting in here, and we could spray them with WD-40, but it's fairly expensive, and it's got a smell to it. I was thinking about either vegetable oil or olive oil, put it in a little container and just shoot it every once in a while. Keep that rust down on some of these tools.
Yeah, I'm surprised how fast they're rusting.
Yes, the high humidity.
Yeah, I can feel it in my hair. It's starting to take on some kind of shape. So I'm going to go ahead and plant it. And then once I have it planted, then we can decide which one of these, if we want to keep all of these, or if we want to train them and bend them. We can do just about anything we want to with it. put a little potting soil in the bottom. You want to use a high quality potting soil. And we're just going to pot it up like we would any other plant. Press the dirt down real good. You want to kind of work your fingers in there and get the potting soil in between those roots that are bare right now. Now see how that's completely leaning over like that?
Mm-hmm.
Now we could, if we think that look is interesting, we can leave it that way, or we can straighten it out. And I think I'm going to straighten it out to about right there. Okay, and then I'm going to water down that soil just a little bit so that, excuse me. Get that out of the way. Yeah, so now we decide which way we want to wire it. And do we want to leave this one here? I could take that off. I could take this one off. There's so many different options. It would look kind of cool if all of these...
So you try to wrap like maybe 3 or 4 of those together sometime?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is that maybe make these go straight up and bend this one over or something. That would look kind of cool.
Or you could cut down some of those out completely down, right? And then just have maybe 2.
Yeah, and that's what
up.
I really like, this trunk down here. So, you know, to add interest, we should probably, we want to make that the focal point. So I'm going to take more of the branches off down here. That one just does not work as good as these. Wow, it's blowing like crazy out there.
Yeah, strange weather.
I think I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to train those to grow together like this. So that's where you take your wire from here. And we're going to wrap it around. You don't want to get it too tight, because since the tree is going to be growing.
I suppose it'd be like, well, if you pinched it too hard, it probably wouldn't get its growth, or could kill it, couldn't it?
Yeah, and
of course, that might be hard to do with a wire. Probably wraps around it pretty nicely.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But if you get it too tight too, the trunk will actually start trying to grow around it. So when you take the wire off, then it'll be peeling. It'll hurt the plant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Good, because I don't know how else to explain it.
Kind of like when, I don't know, you put a band or a nail or something in a tree, right? Over the years, it'll actually go around it.
Right. Okay, so it's starting to take on a little bit more interest. Let's see what else we want it to do here. See, as we cut these back too, and as the tree starts growing and where we're trimming it back, this will start getting thicker. So it'll take on a really cool look towards the top when it gets thick. It takes a while for it to get that way. It's like I said, it's got to be patient for these plants to grow into what you want them. Thin this out up here, give that trunk a little bit more dominant look.
Yeah, it's looking a lot different. It'd probably look like me if I got a haircut. Think?
Think we can train your roots to go up like this?
I've had long hair ever since I was 16. I can't cut it.
Whoops.
I'm just an old tree that won't change.
I think it'd be kind of interesting if we make this one bend over this way. So I'm just going to wrap these two together.
Just trying to decide what to call this video. Bonsai a plant?
Bonsai. How to make a bonsai.
How to make a bonsai. Okay, that'll be the name of the video.
And you can, people that like to do this for a hobby, they can buy them pre-made and then just do the upkeep. But I sure like making them from scratch. And
Well, sure you feel more accomplishment.
yeah. It's just fun to watch them take shape and everything. Okay, so I got that guy bent over pretty good. You got to be careful not to bend it too far to where you break that branch off. And I want to separate this one and have this one go that way a little bit.
They must cost a lot more from the greenhouse if they're already done like this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, bonsai plants can get really pricey because of all the time, the labor, and what kind of pot they're put in, because some of the bonsai pots are, they're beautiful, but they're $30 a piece. And I got these on Amazon, I think 6 for $15 or something. So.
Oh, you brought those in through the mail?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I got these tools too. I got these from Amazon.
But now you're going to start cloning these, like we said, so there you go. Make some money in your backyard.
That's exactly right. So yeah, once these are established and you get the wire off and they look good and pretty, you can probably sell them for $30. Depending upon the market, where you live and stuff, I suppose. Okay, this guy here, what do I want that to do? So you want to try and create balance so that you're it's like off center, but we're making it end up looking balanced. It's hard for me to explain. But the beauty of doing a bonsai is you can do anything you want, because sometimes the more crazy it looks, you know, the more interesting it is and the more people would be willing to pay for them. Okay, so I'm going to bend that one over this way.
I haven't been putting our videos on YouTube because they're too long. Right now they're restricting us to 15 minutes, so if anybody out there knows a way to get around that, maybe if you pay or something, I don't know. I'll have to do some more research on it, but it sounds like it's up to their discretion on whether you're going to give us more time or not.
Whether they like us or not, huh?
It is so hard to chop up videos to fit on YouTube. It's time consuming. Part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah, and it's also, you know, it's impossible to make a bonsai in 15 minutes. I'm doing it pretty fast here. I usually take my time, and because it is just very relaxing. Okay, what do you think of our shape taken on there?
Well, it looks a whole lot different.
I kind of like how what I'm thinking is I'll let this grow longer on this side. I'll keep it real short on this side, let it go longer on that side, so that'll make it more interesting. I just like doing this because I love being creative. Sometimes they don't turn out so good though. I've had a couple of them where I end up looking at them and go, ew. I think this one's going to look cool like that.
Okay, are you about done with that one?
Yeah, so
I'll hold that right here, and then I'm going to put the other one we started with in the video right there. I think it'll work. That's a big difference. I can't see it, but we will later.
So yeah, so we'll just let him start growing now, and I have some. Oh, I also have some. I need to go get this. Okay, so what this is, it's a pruning sealer. Like if you cut a tree outside, if you cut off a big branch, you spray this on so that the tree doesn't get damaged, get bugs in there and stuff. And it helps the bonsai heal faster because we just messed it up pretty good. And I guess it's like putting, what do you call it?
Mega surgery. That's what it just had.
You know what? My finger won't do that. Stupid arthritis.
Let me just spray it.
Or I think I got it. Oops. Traumatized. That's what we did. We traumatized it. So this is like putting
That
back
stuff stinks. That's like a paint or something in it here.
Yeah, it does stink.
You shake it up good?
So that should be plenty.
You got plenty?
Just need a little bit.
What do you do if you spray it in your eyes?
Read the directions before you use it so you know.
Flammable. Keep from heat, sparks, or flame. Yeah, you don't want to know what to do if you get it in your eye. Make sure it's pointing the right direction before you.
Okay, then all we're going to do is take all of our leftovers, and you know how to do this if you want to help.
Oh, I'll watch.
You'll watch today.
I'm not much of a planter. I try to ask questions, stupid questions.
Well, no, they're good questions because it's stuff that I didn't know until I started doing this.
Well, for the people that don't know what I've learned, that's that rooting compound.
You know, I've been calling it rooting compound. It says
That's
on the bottle that it's rooting powder.
Rooting powder.
I don't know if there's a difference. I've also referred to it as rooting hormone. I've heard it called that.
But if you want to go back and find out how we clone plants or propagating, did I say it right?
Yeah, which is what we're doing right now.
Go back in our videos, it's there. It's really cool how you can do this.
Oh yeah, we cut so many off of here. This will make a lot of nice plants. So that's the cool part. You buy one plant and you keep cloning them, and then you never have to buy that same kind of plant again.
You're putting quite a few in there.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and that's what I did with those other ones that I chopped off. And
well, if you put that many, you're going to have a lot of stems to work with.
yeah, once they start rooting.
Or can you take them apart like we did in that one video and then replant them, and then you'll have more?
Yeah, when they start rooting, I'll do that, and I'll split these up.
Okay.
I think that's enough for
that
that
makes
pot.
more sense.
When they hand me one of those full ones over there.
One of these?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I could put just a little bit in each pot, but then I've already got so many pots around here. So it's easier to stick a whole bunch in one and just separate them later. And if you separate them early, right after they just start rooting, then their roots aren't all intertwined and everything. Take those bottoms off a little bit. Okay, so these are our future bonsai plants.
Yes.
Yeah, so these have a little bit thicker stem, so it might take them a month or so to root. I'm not sure how long these take, but we just put those on the bottom shelf of one of these tables over here, water them, and leave them alone, and they do their thing.
I bet it takes quite a bit of water too to keep those pretty moist when they're in that state.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to keep them pretty moist. And some people will even put them in a plastic bag so that there's lots of humidity, but we got plenty of humidity in here, so we don't have to do that. But if you do it outside, if you don't have a greenhouse, you can stick these in your basement, for example, put a plastic bag around them, have the one end open, and keep some water in the little bit of water in there to create humidity, and that'll help them.
You'd probably need a grow light if it was in the basement also. Right?
No.
No? Really?
No, not for rooting. For rooting, they don't care about too much light when they're rooting. It's kind of it's hard to explain. Once they start growing, they're going to want more light. But they almost kind of, it's like they're healing or something.
Right.
So if they get sun, they're going to want to grow too fast. So they're actually better being in the shade, so that they're not wanting to grow too fast. I know I didn't explain that very well.
Oh, we could really get crazy and say, well, it's like being in the hospital after surgery and you're stuck in a bed for a long time. You want the heck out of there. Get some sunshine.
Yeah, that's exactly
Go to the beach.
Right. So that's all there is to it. And then you just, like I said, when they start growing and they start losing their shape, that's all you do is you go in and this is the same kind of plant, by the way. If you've ever seen the ones that in the greenhouses or whatever, they'll make them and they'll look like a spiral going up.
Yeah.
Those are really cool, and I might make one of those next if I find a plant that grows up like that. There's so many cool things you can do. I mean, you can make them look like animals or...
Well, I guess that's where you can show your talent, because that's like carving.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of even people figures in yards. So they're just actually carving a person into that.
That's same concept.
Wow.
So,
it's cool.
Yeah, I still have a little bit more work to do to this one. I think he's cute, but I want to wire him up towards the top here a little bit more and separate some of these branches. But anyway, so that's Bonsai 101.
Okay, like when we were kids, we'd take an M80 or something, and before we light the fuse when it's going down, we go bonsai. Does that have any? Where'd that come from? It must mean something. I don't know. It's something we used to do when we were kids, so I don't know. Anyway, bonsai.
Bye-bye.
Bye.